Draper, who has dealt with them all over the last dozen or so years in Detroit as the designated guy to shut down the big gun. Thornton did not score in game one, but he did have a primary assist on a goal. It is Maltby deep, shoved off by Mahalik. Coming in, Jonathan Chichu, goal-scoring leader in the regular season, doesn't have one yet. Mahalik's shot flapped off a Red Wing defender and went wide, so Maltby can start ahead. Pass is canceled right back in again and held. Played back along off Thornton, followed up by Chichu, pushed over near Thornton, rocked a little bit and linked up along the boards by Markov to the back. It's McLaren, a shot, score! Kyle McLaren at 36 seconds with a shot, and it's 1-0 Sharks.
This is a bad job by Detroit coming out of their own zone. They're trying to hit Cleary, streaking up the ice, but the turnover happens because McLaren's got the quick stick. You see Maltby looking for Cleary. McLaren separates him from the puck, and then San Jose gets the puck in deep end, and they go to work. The big body of Chichu, the big body of Joe Thornton. Markov tries to shield him away from the net, but he can't, then get the puck back to McLaren. Just a simple shot through a little bit of a screen from Chichu, and it finds its way to the back of the net. That's all because of a very poor decision by Kirk Maltby coming out of his own zone.
Back to play, and with all of the music and all of the excitement at the start, it is quiet. Marc-Edouard Vlasic, a rookie, and an impressive one on defense for the Sharks, wearing number 44. With a name like Vlasic, you would expect the players would do something with that. His nickname is Pickle. And offside is called. Our United States Marine Corps team leaders to watch today. 2 for the Sharks, 2 for the Red Wings. Big Joe Thornton is one of them, points in the last 4. Goal-scoring leader Jonathan Chichu is always out there, and Patrick Marleau as well. For Detroit, Pavel Datsyuk leads Detroit in playoff goals, and Nick Lidstrom simply leads Detroit. But they will have to come from behind as Markov lays a pass across that is shuffled on for the follow-up by Johan Frund. He's the man who scored the double overtime clincher against Calgary. The best game I've seen Detroit play all year, the most consistent game, and it went to overtime. And they were supposed to be too old for that sort of stuff. No, I don't think so. Meanwhile, though, it's the Sharks laying one back that McLaren slowed and has to drop back to center. Yesterday at practice, Jonathan Chichu was practicing wrist shots from the right circle. Ron Wilson, the coach, was practicing hooking him from behind. I don't know if he anticipated that would be the custom, but here's Filppula crossing, shooting, and it's deflected up into the mesh and out of play by Rive. Bud Light takes us inside the glass with Pierre Maguire.
Well, Detroit's really trying to get it going here, and on their bench they're trying to stay positive. One of the things that slow start happens is the fans come out of it, the building's dead, and now you see that last little quick chance they had through the neutral zone, maybe a little inspiration, but their better players are coming on the ice now. Datsyuk, Calder, Zetterberg, they have to get some offensive flow going because the San Jose bench very comfortable in this environment right now.
And the one thing Detroit had success with in game one was points were open. The defensemen had opportunities to get pucks to the net, something they need to continue to do here in game 2.
Chichu's rising shot hit the corner board strangely, played by Mahalik, around behind to Chichu again with Big Joe Thornton in front, fed to the backhand and a shot, and it up on top of the net, stuck there, and now popped down in front and is jabbed at by Chichu, still trying to force it in, and Hasek holds on with what must be, or what may be, one of the bigger saves in this game because of San Jose's ahead 2-0, 2.25 in.
Well, the puck pursuit by San Jose. Look where this puck ends up. And Joe Thornton, what a play. He knocks that puck off more times than not. The referee will blow the whistle. And then Chichu's hacking and whacking. Somebody's got to knock him down in front of the net. But 2 real good opportunities. Hasek with a gigantic save after that puck popped off the top of the net.
It almost looks like Detroit's afraid to get engaged physically, Ed. They're just reaching with their sticks. There's not a lot of body contact.
Well, they have to start knocking people down or this game could get out of hand real early here. There's a much quicker tempo in game 2 than there was in game 1.
This is fed along for Bill Guerin. Guerin turning away from Lilia behind. Chased off and taken to the glass. And it's not that this game doesn't require courage. Cleary flips to the ice. I cannot recall the last time I saw a lineup that had entire 18 skaters that were 6 feet tall. The only guy in the San Jose lineup who is under 6 feet is the backup goaltender today at 5'11". It is a big team and one that likes to use its physical power. One of the bigger guys, Bill Guerin, but he's only 8th biggest on this team, talking about one of the biggest in Joe Thornton.
I think he's done great, and you know, outside of making big plays and things like that, Joe's doing a lot of the little things right. He's played real well on his own end. You know, he gets pucks out, he gets pucks in when he has to, and makes right decisions.
Bill Guerin, the cup winner on this San Jose lineup from the New Jersey Devils, their championship over Detroit in 1995. The rest are waiting for the experience and hoping it comes. Some have gone deep in the playoffs, but they haven't gotten the big prize. Brought ahead by Robert Lang. Mike Babcock was considering switching the lines today, changing centerman and trying to get more going for Lang. But he's out there with Bertuzzi, though Bertuzzi's pass is cut and started out, and the Sharks have a 4-on-2. Brought in by Mike Greer, dealt back for a backhand pass in front and skipped wide. As letting it go was Patrick Rissmiller. This is surprising, in that we thought Detroit would have a much better start to this game because both teams expected it, and Detroit was saying yesterday how that had to be a shot right on goal from Chichu. Another try, and that one is blocked aside as Ehrhoff had a whack at it.
You got some major confusion on the Detroit bench. They're trying to get the matchup against Thornton. They got their 4th line on the ice. They're confused.
That shot by Ehrhoff is sent further, played right back along and behind, and it is settled down by Hasek and played along to Filppula. And then along it's taken by Lilia, but given up to Chichu, spun it back in deep. The Sharks are going to make a couple of changes on defense and give away and a goal! Joe Thornton into a vacant net, and it's 2-0.
That's just all about matchups. And as I said, huge confusion on the bench. They just missed the matchup. Mike Babcock's aware of it. And that's just something you can't have when your margin of victory and defeat is so slight. See Hasek going back to handle the puck, Ed. Then there's all that miscommunication. Joe Thornton jumping on it, wrapping it home.
Well, there's the giveaway by Hasek, and in game 1, San Jose got off to a 2-0 lead. Mike Babcock called a timeout to try to slow the game down. I don't know if he's going to do that right here, but a giveaway. A 2-0 lead.
Babcock's on the bench right now saying, relax, boys. Let's just get our game back and get going the way we know how. That's exactly what he's telling his team. But that was just a bad matchup play.
Zetterberg and Datsuk are out there along with Kyle Calder, the front line for the Detroit Red Wings. That one is just floated right back out to center by Ryan Clough.
Well, it's either going to be the Zetterberg line or the Draper line against the Thornton line. And more times than not, being a player, hey, if you see the Thornton line out there and your assignment isn't that line, you got to get off the ice or you can't change. There has to be communication amongst the players. It has to come from the coach, but it's got to be the players. You'll have a line up and then you'll have a line in the hole if there's a different look coming out from San Jose.
Mark Bell, former teammate of Kyle Calder in Chicago, number 7 in white. Misplay there, but it's floated back along and held by Robert Lang. Lang deals it to the back. Kyle Quincy brought it in, and offside is called. The next goal is enormous.
It is, and this is a situation where Quincy's a young player coming in to fill the void left by Brett Lebda, who got injured against Calgary in game number 5. And Quincy's just a raw kid starting out, and it's not an easy situation for him to be in right now.
Well, he's the perfect partner for him, Chris Chelios.
Yeah.
Talking to Kyle Quincy before game 1, he just said that it's amazing how the difference in communication there is in a National Hockey League in-game on the bench, in the dressing room, and down in the American Hockey League. He said in-game that nobody talks to anybody. There's nobody out there helping you, but when you play with a guy like Chris Chelios, who's done a lot for Kyle Quincy, certainly helps out a lot. Have those extra set of eyes out there.
Hard work being done by Draper, but it draws a penalty, and the call is a stick hold to Draper, and so it will be a power play coming up to San Jose.
One of the top penalty killers for Detroit, Chris Draper, who I thought was the best forward up front for the Red Wings in game 1. There he grabs the stick of Kyle McLaren. A 2-0 lead for the Sharks. Get their first opportunity on the power play.
This is a team not without confidence on its power play against Detroit. It's brought to you by Gillette. It belongs to the Sharks. If you add the regular season 4 games, they won 3 of them. And the playoffs game 1, the Sharks are 14 for 32. That's about 43%. That's unheard of. That's how much confidence they have when they have the man advantage or 2 against the Red Wings. They were 1 for 1 in game 1. Only one mistake, and that was made by Nick Lidstrom. That led to a penalty. Patrick Marleau with this. He's got Thornton and Gibbs to him for the drive. That's patted away by Hasek. Rebound, jabbed at, and picked up by Lidstrom as fishing away was Mahalik.
He never gave up on that play. What a great effort by Milan Mahalik. Almost had a chance to put that in the wide open net.
Mahalik able to hold now and hand it on back for the walk across by Marleau. Given back to Marleau for the drive, deflected high and it popped wide off Hasek. Head on back for Marleau, twisted it across and it's Thornton in the slot to Chichu. Tried for McCulloch, but it is blocked aside in front. And lifted, but to the point where it's held once more. Joe Thornton from Marleau. Red Wings want to get a change in here, can't do it. Again, Chichu couldn't handle the pass very well. Cancellation in the corner boards there as Matt Carl boomed in. It came back for Marleau, and the shot ricocheted off a Red Wing in front. Meanwhile, it's taken and lifted along by Zetterberg and controlled back out by Franzen. And now they can make the change after a minute and a half of attack time.
There's mention of Jonathan Chichu not once but twice, Doc. You called it. Wasn't able to handle his passes, and Joe Thornton, who's led the league in assists the last 2 years, he kind of didn't put that puck in the right spot for Chichu to be able to one-time that puck.
Giveaway by the Red Wings on back to Ehrhoff, and it's kicked back out by Datsuk. Sharks fans, wherever they are, have to love this, the way this game's unfolded. And for the Red Wings fans, just lots more confusion as to how this could be going on.
You could just feel it. I mean, they are just anticipating all loose pucks. They're winning the battles. You can just feel that they have the Red Wings on the rope this early in the game. We know in the new NHL, no lead is safe, but you can just feel the momentum right now. Detroit's got to try and change it. Need a big hit. Need somebody to draw a penalty.
Rissmiller lined up and hit by Cleary, but he's a much bigger man. Forced right back along near Quincy, but popped on out to center, and waiting is Schneider. Off of Draper, it's Vlasic. Lost to Cleary, with Maltby in front, feeds to the back. Schneider, the shot, deflected and skittered around in front, and is helped along by Nabokov and tossed the length by Greer. There'll be icing here. 11:32, first period of play. Sharks 1, Red Wings nothing. 2 have gone in. Another was an extremely close play. The commercial timeout, Mike Babcock had quite a chat with his squad.
Hey, he brought everybody together and just said, look, let's just settle down here. Let's just settle down and let's regroup and start over. We're not going to get, we like to get 2 in 1 shift. Certainly that's possible with the skill level of the Red Wings, but let's just settle down and go from here.
It is Kyle Quincy bringing it ahead. Forced back in on the bounce by Franzen, and it had to be blocked away by Nabokov. Turned back along near Mark Bell. And a hit came from Franzen. Bertuzzi was there as well. Meanwhile, it's tucked on back for Bill Guerin. Then laid back in by Bell. And then lost behind by Schneider. Might be some jitters there as Mark Bell comes by. Defended by Schneider, and the feed went through Bill Guerin and back down. Native of Wilbraham, Massachusetts, 3-time U.S. Olympian Bill Guerin joined this team from St. Louis near the trade deadline, offside and a little collision, and then peeling off from that is Markov from Mahalik.
Talking to Craig Rivet about Milan Mahalik, it's an interesting story. When Rivet came over to San Jose from the Montreal Canadiens, they were practicing in one of his first practices, and he didn't know who Milan Mahalik was. And he goes to Joe Thornton after the practice. He goes, when did they call this kid up? He's pretty good. And Thornton goes, he's been here for 2 years. He was a first-round pick of ours. Rive could not believe how quick, how strong, and how skilled Mahalik was. And when you look at him just in street clothes, he's almost 235 pounds, and he's chiseled out of granite.
Big, strong guy. You can say that about any of the Sharks, really.
Yeah, really.
Native of the Czech Republic. His family pronounces the name Macaulay, and there's a sound at the back of your throat that I'm not able to make very fast. So I hope you don't mind, and the family doesn't, that it's Mahalik.
Well, his brother in Phoenix likes to be called Mahalik. Zabinek, right? The defenseman, so they changed the pronunciation.
Bank back off near Thornton. He has been significant with a goal and an assist already in the 2 that have been collected by his team, and has a point in 3 of the 4 they've scored. Red Wings are looking for their first as we hit the halfway point of a House of Horrors first period for Detroit. Maybe that'll change in the second half. Lidstrom hopes so as he hands over to Zetterberg. Not a bad move. Laid back ahead and crisply carried back out by Datsuk. He's got Danny Markov up with him. Beg your pardon, it is Datsuk with Calder now moving to the front as that one kicked back out in front and is eventually rescued and handed back off for Steve Bernier. So back is Quincy with a pitchfork move on Gotch. Hoping to muscle around with Bernier, but emerging now and bringing it ahead, Kyle Quincy. Flipped on by Filppula. Chopped to the boards and Filppula moved in. Taken away and banked right back to Quincy. Sent it right back once more, and it's turned back over by Yuri Hutler, but not for Filppula. Quincy, another good hand-eye coordination play. Tried to work it ahead, but Gotch is able to muscle it further, and it's cleared back near Chelios.
Ed, Detroit has all the skill and the speed. They just can't get to the net. The big bodies of San Jose are shutting them down.
Here's Greer dropping, and it is picked up and thrown in front by Rissmiller, and it went wide.
Turnover there by Chelios led to that opportunity.
Who would have thought no shots on goal by Detroit in the first 11 and a quarter minutes of a game that they desperately need?
In game 1, they had the puck the majority of the night, 34 shots, no second and third chance opportunities, maybe 1 or 2. But here, San Jose's turned the page. They have the puck this whole first period.
It is Robert Lang reaching. Mark Bell dueling with him, and a kick back along, but we're going to get a penalty coming up. The call is a hook, and it will be a power play to Detroit when we come back. The Stanley Cup playoffs on NBC are brought to you by Verizon Wireless. Check out more NHL action on your VCast phone, only from Verizon Wireless. And the fans and the sound rally the Red Wings here. This one is skipped back out to center, and so Lidstrom can go back.
One thing, talking to assistant coach Todd McClellan of the Detroit Red Wings on a power play, quicker decisions with the puck. There's lanes there, but they get shut off quickly.
Power play for Detroit was 0 for 3 in game 1.
All 3 of those penalties were in the second period, and that really gave Detroit some momentum and didn't allow San Jose to get back to what they were doing well in the first period.
Rugged. Hannon plays it back along, and it is cleared off the glove of Lidstrom, and so shifting back in is Rissmiller. An early playoff hero for an overtime winning goal for San Jose in the series against the Nashville Predators. You see Schneider moving away from the camera, now back into it as we shift to one that shows Lidstrom. Lidstrom playing it back along further. It's given back on for Robert Lang again. At the front now is Datsuk, shaken back over to Lang by Lidstrom. Off a skate, could not be reached, and it's spun back down the ice with 53 to go, and the fans are not shy. Cleary is out there along with Lang, and also Yuri Hutler up front. Played back across now to Samuelson, storms ahead, shooting one, pad stop made by Namakov. The first Red Wing shot comes with just 7:01 to go in the first period.
Big rebound there. Unfortunately for Detroit, they skated right by. Both players skated right by that opportunity.
Nabokov slowed that one down, but pinballed it off a Red Wing out in front, and so it can be brought back out eventually by Marcel Gotch, and the German-born forward pushes it back in for Hasek to stop. 12 to go. They have Franzen out there right now, as well as Maltby and Draper. Franzen escapes a check, moves back in, reached it, and fired one that was tipped up into the mesh and back down to the ice.
Well, on this power play, Detroit was trying to work Lang up. The puck ends up bouncing. Look at the recognition by San Jose. Mike Greer recognizes that Lang's in one of those tough spots, a vulnerable position, knowing when to pressure. And then he got support everywhere else. Boom, there goes Greer. Here comes Brown. Here comes Ehrhoff. So outstanding recognition by San Jose to know that Lang was in trouble.
Lips from a shot that is deflected high by Joe Thornton and taken by Milan Mahalik. And out to center where it's blocked off by Danny Markov. Right back ahead they come. Thornton drive and a rocket went wide. Careened all the way back for Mahalik to play back to him. Joe Thornton defended by Nick Lidstrom. Pass was blocked away. Started back ahead by the Red Wings. As we've had 14 minutes go off the clock, Draper went down and a penalty will be coming up and it'll be against San Jose, so the Red Wings will get yet another chance on the power play.
Joe Thornton's going to get it. Dave Jackson caught him in the neutral zone. It's a foot race situation. Thornton's trying his hardest to track Draper on the back check, and he gets his stick tangled up into Draper's body just below you and Ed upstairs, Doc, and it's one of those penalties where the lead official, in that case Dave Jackson, catches Joe Thornton hauling down Chris Draper.
Talked about San Jose having no momentum. Detroit having to answer it. How do you change it? A big hit. Offensive opportunities. Yes, we love the end result, but now back-to-back power plays. First one probably not acceptable for Detroit because they didn't get any opportunity. The key is that you want to sustain some pressure so it builds momentum. Yes, you want to score, but then hopefully that builds momentum moving forward.
Pushed away from Samuelsson, up the boards, chipped back further, and retrieved by Lidstrom. Again, they do not have Thomas Holmstrom to do his work near the front of the net. Perhaps Todd Bertuzzi will be the guy. We'll just watch. It's Zetterberg now in front as it's held by Samuelsson. Peeling off to take the pass is Zetterberg. Now Bertuzzi is near the front of the net. And that pass misfires for Datsuk, and a big wall goes up from the crowd as they see that. Play back on for Lidstrom. Hit strike back in again for Nabokov to protect. Played back along by Hannon, yanked through the legs, and a neat pass by Zetterberg, who got it back again. Bertuzzi at the front. Outside it's Datsuk. They yell shoot as it's played back in for a centering pass. It went off Bertuzzi. Another try. Lidstrom a drive, and it ricocheted wide. Another try, and that's blocked by the defense of Hannon.
These guys just block shots like machines. Whether it's Curtis Brown, Scott Hannon, Mike Greer, they block shots unbelievably well. 18 of them in game one.
13 Red Wings shots missed, 34 were on goal in that first game out of the 65 attempts.
Detroit felt that they had at least 12 other times where they had lanes to get the puck to the net, but they chose to do something else.
Samuelsson tried to chip it on. Gotch sent it down. 25 left on an uneventful power play for the Red Wings here with 4:23 left in the first. And the Sharks leading on goals by McLaren at 36 seconds and Thornton at 4:17. Lobbed in by Schneider, played by McLaren, jabbed behind for Rive, came back to him again from Lang, Zabak. And it kicked back in front for the play to be made by Schneider. Schneider works it along to Lang. Fed one inside the box. It was well watched there, and a diving clear by Mike Greer, and out of the penalty box is Thornton. What a play by Greer. Hasek could not play it right away. That's why he had to wait for it to cross that trapezoidal line, and eventually it's yanked back to Schneider.
And how about how underappreciated a player like Curtis Brown and Mike Greer is in a situation like this with San Jose. Amazing how successful they can be with a team like San Jose.
18 of them in the first game. Key blocks by the Sharks near their goaltender in game number 2. The Sharks have the lead over the Red Wings 2-0. It's all right.
Turnovers are killing the Detroit Red Wings so far in game number 2, and they better adjust quickly or they're going to be in trouble. When you continually turn the puck over, you give a team like San Jose all kinds of opportunities to create offense and potentially score goals. Thornton's big body matters, but it was a turnover earlier in the sequence that created problems.
Chichu hit the outside of the net near the post. The rebound was stopped by Hasek. My goodness, another great chance for the Sharks. Fed back for a drive by Rive that went wide and hopped over to Filppula. Well, Terry Filppula connects across. Schneider a blast, and it went wide and hopped off the cage. And then a swing at it, but it is held by Nabokov. And that was Chris Draper, I beg your pardon, as he steamed up the wing. Well, this much we can tell you. The Dodge Avenger Intermission Report with Bill, Brett, and Ray. Scores and highlights in the NFL Draft Report Coming up on the Dodge Avenger intermission report. A lot of interest here in Detroit, of course, about the Lions and how the Lions would be drafting, particularly in the first round. They went for a wide receiver. Nabokov developed by the Sharks, as so many players that you see today have been. Many of them playing in the American Hockey League for their team. This year, their team is the Worcester Sharks, coached by Roy Sommer, and they are still alive in their first-round playoff series against the Manchester Monarchs, trailing in that series 3-2. Detroit's team in Grand Rapids, coached by Greg Ireland, and they are ahead in their series with Manitoba 3-2 as a shot by Zetterberg is turned aside. They go up to Winnipeg to play the next game there in the best of 7.
A little different look here for Detroit. Got Bertuzzi, Datsuk, and Zetterberg.
Datsuk. Then across now to Zetterberg. Threw one in front, deflected, score!
Well, you just never know. Get the puck to the net, but what a play by Pavel Datsuk. He knocks the puck out of the air. Zetterberg just trying to throw the puck to the front of the net, and it goes in off of Kyle McLaren. Yuri Hudler's going hard to the net. He draws attention, and the puck somehow, some way finds a way in behind of Kenny Nabokov.
Well, I think it goes off Kyle McLaren, who comes out and he changes the direction of the puck as Zetterberg throws it, and it fools Nabokov. But look how off the angle of getting Nabokov is, Ed. That's not real picture-perfect goaltending from Nabokov. He's got to be out on top of the crease and not off to the side.
So Henrik has connected his third goal of the playoffs. The Red Wings' first goal of the series, and it is sent away from Calder. Lang tried to one-hand it along. Hudler came up with it, but a penalty is coming up, a boarding call. It'll be Yuri Hudler going to the penalty box, and San Jose shifting to the power play at a time Detroit really needed to fight its way back in.
Just trying to be physical along the wall. Hudler's going to come into your picture, hit Steve Bernier from behind.
And that's a hit from behind. You can complain about it all you want, but it's a hit from behind. Matthew Schneider talking to Bill McCreary right now. But at some point, if you can see the opposition player's numbers, you can't hit them. And if you do hit them, you can't drill them into the boards. Simple as that.
A false start on the faceoff. Chris Draper is available to penalty kill this time. I asked him yesterday, with all of the guys he's had to defend, when did this first start? He said, one day I was in Winnipeg playing for the Jets, and John Paddock, our coach, said, your assignment tonight is Pavel Bure of Vancouver.
Wherever he goes, you go.
And the name is like a Hall of Fame of the future list of the guys that he's had to deal with in playoff series, particularly in the past. But here he comes. 33 in red, earlier disguised as 23 in red. Sees this one broken up and started back in, but it's cut and lifted back down. The start to a good penalty kill for Detroit. 100 seconds to go in the first period. Zetterberg's goal was from Datsuk and Bertuzzi at 17:30.
A little in-game adjustment by Mike Babcock, throwing the three big guys, so to speak, together. Gets them on the board in their first goal of the series.
Nice work by Valtteri Filppula along to Zetterberg and chipped back down. Jonathan Chichu drifts behind and gets some help. Is coming behind is the young man from Newfoundland, Ryan Clough. Oh! A strong hit by Andreas Lilja, and it's cleared. You said earlier what Detroit needed was a big hit. That's the first major one that I can recall they've gotten, and they got it at a critical time.
Clough was looking for that puck, and Lilja timed it perfectly.
Clough brought it ahead, had Thornton nearby, gave it back. Ehrhoff, a shot, it went wide, struck the back of the cage, stuck out there, but it couldn't be fed in front. Now eventually Clough on back to Ehrhoff once more. Feeds it the opposite way, kicked away from Matt Carl, knifed away from Thornton, and back up the boards again for a play to be made by Clough. Chipped loose by Thornton. 13 to go, power play, fed in front, save Hasek, moving in as Ehrhoff, swatted at it, knocked down in front, big scramble there, Clough with a shot, fall off by Hasek again, picked up in the last 3 seconds of the penalty kill for Detroit, but not out. Then lost and sent back out by Danny Markov. Out of the box is Hudler. Coming out is Nabokov. 8 seconds left in the period. Ryan Clough with that sailed it back in. The Red Wings checked the clock. 2 seconds and 1. The Red Wings survived, and the Sharks showed them a lot, particularly early.
Big time save by Dominic Hasek at the end of the period on Ryan Clough. They got some momentum. They got the deficit to within 1. A good finish for the Red Wings after an outstanding start by the Sharks.
9-3, the shots on goal. The Sharks had the advantage. The end of the first period from Detroit, with the Sharks having the lead by a count of 2-1. Stay tuned for the Dodge Avenger Intermission Report with Bill, Brett, and Ray. You're watching the Stanley Cup playoffs on NBC. There against the Quebec Nordiques, a new entry from the old WHA into the NHL, and then they switched over here. And the Gordie Howe entrance was for the quarter century he spent as a player wearing number 9 here, as well as one of the more memorable appearances he made was at the All-Star game held at Joe Louis Arena just after it was opened. Wintertime of 79-80. It was not held in by Kyle McLaren. Downstairs, Pierre inside the glass, brought to you by Bud Light.
Well, if the Red Wings are going to get back into this thing, they got to get a better performance from Dominic Hasek. He wasn't particularly good in the first period, flopping around all over. And the big thing is miscommunicating with his defense, which led to the Joe Thornton goal. You got to be more aware, and obviously Dominic Hasek not very aware in the first period.
This is chipped back out for a take by Danny Markov, spun past Lidstrom, gotten by Thornton, but cut and brought ahead. But a carry on by Chris Draper. Draper feeds, Bertuzzi crosses. Bertuzzi fanned on the shot.
Little subtle line change by Mike Babcock, putting Bertuzzi instead of Calder on the line with Zetterberg and Datsa.
And we get a stoppage of play as the puck was tipped off the mesh.
And that line was put together at the end of the first period. The Zetterberg, Datsuk, Bertuzzi line, and got the Red Wings on the board.
Subtle changes. If they work, they are brilliant. Well, if not, at least they tried.
Right,
something.
exactly. And I think that's exactly what happened in game 1. I mean, Mike Babcock, when talking to him after, he thought about it, and then as a coach, you want to give your guys an opportunity to get it going, and then at the end of the second period, he started changing, trying to get the right combination. They were getting their shots, but they just weren't getting their second and third chance opportunities that, both teams were talking about after game 1.
Maltby sails it back in. It bounces over near Cleary. Out there with Chris Draper. Puck sent back now to Lilia and tapped across to Matthew Schneider. That went off Bill Guerin. Brushed across. Here's Draper. Drive! Getting it in his glove. Snapping it out of the air was Nabokov.
And for a European-trained goaltender, Evgeny Nabokov probably has the best glove hand of all the European goaltenders. It's really the strength of his game. Comes out and challenges on Draper and just easily snags that out of the air. Most European goaltenders, their strong suit's not the glove because they grow up playing soccer and not a lot of eye-hand coordination sports. Not so with Nabokov.
See how far Nabokov came out there, cut it down the angle. I think for Detroit, if they have time, they like that to hold on to that puck, maybe make a fake, take a step, get him out of the net, and get the puck in behind him. Very aggressive goaltending by Evgeny Nabokov.
Lidstrom and Greer canceled. Meanwhile, it is sent back for McLaren to play back across now for Christian Ehrhoff. And right back in, he throws it. We mentioned that McLaren's goal was changed. Oh, down to the ice went Hudler. Up came his stick. Brown flinches now and Dobbs at his face. Play continues as it came back around to Rissmiller. Holy Cross product. Left it around behind where it was whacked away by Chris Chelios.
First ever NHL player out of Holy Cross, and he was an outstanding lacrosse player as well. Just like Joe Newendike and Jerry Roberts and Adam Oates.
Long toss ahead, and Hudler tipped it back in and went to get it. Coming across, though, is Calder. Hit pretty hard by Ribe. Got it out in front from his knees and tried to make a play on goal. But eventually it's carried out by Big Joe Thornton. Tried for Mahalik. Instead, it's Chichu. Chichu pumped it behind. Thornton flipped it in front. Whacked at by Mahalik and played back across for a loft Back out to center by Datsuk.
Detroit doing a much better job defensively, not allowing room, time, and space for San Jose's forwards in the offensive zone.
Zetterberg moves in, curls around behind, leads it back, but a penalty coming up, and it'll be against Detroit.
Bertuzzi. And Bertuzzi just driving hard to the net. And he pushes everything and makes a train wreck right into Evgeny Nabokov.
We're here, Henrik Zetterberg in the neutral zone, using his feet to the outside. Again, good defensive positioning there by Craig Rivet. And I thought Zetterberg had a chance to shoot the puck. And there's one of those decisions. You got to make quicker decisions. There's an opportunity to get the puck to the net. What did Zetterberg do in the first period? He was trying to get it to the net. It went off McLaren. He scored a goal. So again, Mike Babcock, Paul McLean, Todd McClellan, assistant coaches and head coach for the Detroit Red Wings. The lanes are there, but then they get shut off quickly. Rivet did a great job to get in that shooting lane. Got to make quicker decisions, get it to the net.
Sharks power play is brought to you by Verizon Wireless. And oxygen remover. Penalty to Bertuzzi. Earlier there was one at just the time. It was to Hudler that the Red Wings were trying to rally and get back in and had some momentum going. But this is taken by Franzen and laid back out. Nice pull and move by Draper. And with his dad, Mike, watching here today. Played that one back in. This is the time of year when we see a lot of parents of players. A couple have come from as far away as Newfoundland. Kevin Cleary, whose son Dan is playing number 11, pushing that around behind for Detroit. And Tony Clough, whose son Ryan is number 29 in white for San Jose. From Newfoundland they are here. Did not get to see each other, even though they were at the same place for about 20 minutes. They just wanted to talk and share stuff from back home, as the Red Wings, meanwhile, have cleared this back down, and the good first minute of the kill for Detroit.
Chris Draper's father was a tremendous player at Michigan Tech, Mike, up in the UP.
And he learned to speak very well there, too, didn't he? Turnaround shot, rattled off of Nabokov, and is taken. Very glib guy to learn from, as his son is as well. Now, finally, the Sharks bring it ahead, and here comes Chichu. Laid it across, and it's cleared carefully back out by Markov with 35 left on the power play.
Heck of a back check there by Zetterberg here. Once Chelios got beaten in neutral zone, he came back, and Detroit was able to clear the puck all the way down. Outstanding back pressure in puck pursuit by Henrik Zetterberg.
And it's the little things that can generate momentum, and you talk about the back check, and here it comes. Chichu trying to find his way. Zetterberg running him out of room, and here comes Maltby just to step up Markov. And then you'll see later on, tight chance, hard on it, puck thrown on the goal.
Yeah, much more aggressive here, and especially up front with the forwards on the penalty kill.
So Craig Rivet takes it from his goaltender Nabokov in the last 18 seconds of the power play. Matt Carl flopped it back in. Lidstrom got his skates on that, the turn and the take, and charging back out with it is Datsuk. Nicely able to pull away from Thornton, flip one that's knifed down on the wing, and then is hacked on back in deep by Chelios. But that takes care of the penalty kill. Bertuzzi is out of the box. And back down this is sent. No icing here as it's played back ahead by Filppula, handed on for Franzen, who brings it ahead and nudges across for the pitch back in by Snyder. Off the high glass, it caromed off of that and also hit the mesh, and so the faceoff will come back to center here in the early stages of the second period. But the Red Wings have killed off the power play to San Jose. Mike Greer was born in the Detroit area at a time that his father was working here at Ypsilanti at Eastern Michigan University.
Yeah, it's a big day for the Greer family. His father's a director of professional scouting for the Houston Texans, and his brother Chris is a scout for the Miami Dolphins. Drafted.
Franzen there, escapes around behind, tried to play in the front, but Filppula took over for Detroit. Then Samuelsson, then Filppula. Samuelsson a shot and it went wide. Caromed on back and it's Markov. Skipped one around behind. Nearly 6 minutes played in the second. A stunning start to the game. Something the Sharks experienced in game one when they scored twice. They got the first two here. Samuelsson's shot went wide. But more power coming from Detroit here in the second, and at least more shots let go. Only a couple of them have gotten on net. 2-1. San Jose has the lead. It has been a series, a game, and a period, and part of a second that has seen customary hitting that you expect at this time of year in the Stanley Cup playoffs. The Stanley Cup playoffs on NBC are brought to you by Dodge. You can take life as it comes, or you can grab life by the horns. Dodge. Some great memories, especially for San Jose in prior series that have been played. Andre Zuzin had an overtime winner. Mike Vernon had a shutout for the Sharks against Dallas on this date in 1998. But there's more to talk about, and they're obviously doing it behind Dominik Hasek and the goal right now. They heard about Pierre mentioning football, so we need to check in with New York right now.
Wow.
All right. In a great tradition of quarterbacks dating back over half a century, with the Otto Graham being one of the first prominent quarterbacks for Cleveland. They have another out of Notre Dame as Lilia was bumped off. Meanwhile, it's picked up by Greer. Way back ahead for Curtis Brown, and he's able to lob it back in, so Hasek can sweep it away with a big goal stick to Lilia. Robert Lang brings it on. Matched for a moment by Bell, but he escapes and throws it wide.
Good puck protection there by Lang to get in on that opportunity. Just throw it towards the net.
It is Bell steering it back in, and it's popped down. And a backhand attempt by Bill Guerin. Second effort got the back of the cage, and Hoodler flipped it out. All right, where are we here now that nearly half the game has been played? Detroit recovered. We knew that toward the end of the first. What do you think of this second so far?
It's a lot like it was in game one for the majority of it, even though Detroit had the majority of shots in game one. It's almost that feeling I'll press this right now. Nobody want to take too many chances. That's the feel that I get from being up here.
At the top of the show, Eddie Olczyk said, you know, just one shot's not good enough. Kirk Maltby agrees. You don't get one at a time here.
Doesn't matter how many shots you get, but when the goalie can see the puck for the most part, and there's no traffic or second, third chances, then you know he's going to make those stops. So you could have 100 shots and it's not going to matter. So we definitely have to do a better job of getting bodies to the net, get some traffic, and try and get those deflections and second and third chances.
He has played alongside Chris Draper as a prominent checker on this team for decades. Brought ahead now and carried on by Cleary. Cleary the shot steered aside by Nabokov.
Hey, San Jose hasn't had a shot on goal yet here in the second period, and that's an issue. Detroit's starting to stabilize this game.
San Jose pounded away pretty quickly with their first goal on their first shot in the first at 36 seconds. Detroit was 11 and a half minutes before they got theirs. Here is Cleary moving ahead. Forehander turned aside for the sprawling Nabokov. Helmetless now is Joe Thornton at center. Meanwhile, this is sent on back for the pitch back ahead to him. And so, looking like an old-style player, he gets across to Mihalik, who dropped it around behind. Markov took over there, floated one that skipped away from Zetterberg's reach. And then smeared down was McLaren. They have to get onside, and they do. Zetterberg dips the shoulder, backhander into the glove of Nabokov.
Two good opportunities for the Detroit Red Wings. That last one by Zetterberg, but right before that, Daniel Cleary gets in behind the defense, but watch the play. It's a desperation move. Get on your backhand, throw it back between the skates and a stick to defender. Craig Rivet all in one motion. Remember last night, first goal of the game, Vancouver Anaheim, Marcus Naslund. Same type of situation, all in one move. Backhand, forehand, shot on goal. Good save by Nabokov. And Naslund scored on his last night.
Yes. Are you being a prophet here?
No, definitely not.
It is Datsuk onto the back. Schneider a drive, deflected and Huff just wide of the cage. So now Clough holds behind.
San Jose worked so hard to get into every single shooting avenue. It's unbelievable. They saw Schneider about to tee it up. There were three white sweaters getting in the lane.
Last Vlasic sent that one ahead. Lilia closed off there by Klo, who escapes. And Klo turns further away from Lilia. Got it to Koch for a backhander that was off Datsuk, blocked by Hasek, sent in front, and starting it ahead, Datsuk, a pass just away from the reach of Zetterberg, who recoiled and played it back in. McLaren there, nearly closed off by Bertuzzi, but not the way the fans wanted. They wanted him in the third row.
Hey, Pierre, you're talking about the Schneider Kent. Did he have an opportunity to get that puck to the net a little quicker?
Yes, he did, and he should have walked to the inside a little more. That's really too big a windup.
It is Koch, shoved off by Chelios. And then out in front, Klo, and he was smeared on the play by Quincy. More physical Detroit, something they were asked to be against Calgary, and they responded eventually. Here is Filppula, waltzed off by McLaren. There'll be a penalty coming up to him. The delayed call is on. Samuelson protects nicely, walks it around with Quincy, gives to Chelios, crosses, backhander, juggled by Nabokov, and then covered.
Mike Emmerich talked about it. Mike Babcock wanted his team more physical against Calgary. Chelios shoots it in. This is how you get physical. You win races, and then you start to dominate by protecting the puck. Filppula does, and then he eventually draws a penalty to McLaren. But you see all the red sweaters down low. That's what Mike Babcock's been preaching all season long since training camp. Ed, he wasn't happy with the way they went out to Edmonton last year. He thought Edmonton dominated them physically. He told his players, to a man, we have to be more committed physically, and they have been this season.
Good discipline there by Chelios. 4 guys lined up across the blue line. He chipped the puck in. And Pierre, you made mention, Filppula wins the battle.
Working hard was Curtis Brown. It came back over to Mike Greer. A couple of former Sabres. See that one lob back in, and it is handled there by Schneider. And eventually they can start it on with Robert Lang. So now Hudler banked it in, hoping for Cleary. Lost it for a moment because of the reach from behind. Taken along by Lang again. Then Cleary once more. Worked on by Hannon. Puck to Schneider. Gives it across for the hole by Lidstrom. Back to Schneider. Drive! It's deflected wide by Hannon, who blocked the shot out of harm's way. Very deliberately, Curtis Brown banked one out of play into the Sharks bench area. And so with 1:12 left on the kill and 9:21 in the second, San Jose still with a 1-goal lead.
I'm just amazed at how Detroit was able to reel this thing in. Again, San Jose no shots on goal here, and we're halfway through the second period, Ed. And I think it's just Detroit getting that veteran presence, and San Jose is just trying to sit back on their lead. But if they do that for too long, I don't think it'll work.
Schneider on to Bertuzzi. They have to get set. Rissmiller is out there along with Koch on the penalty kill for San Jose now. As the veterans Brown and Greer get a rest 4 now. That one blocked back out by Rissmiller, and so Schneider must play again. Zetterberg and Datsuk and Bertuzzi, the guys they want, are out there now. Brought ahead by Datsuk. Protected pretty well. Walked every inch of the way by Gott. Fed it back to Schneider. Schneider fed it over. Lidstrom there. Shot. Blocked right back out by Nabokov. Cleared. And it's kneelingly blocked by Schneider and given on to Datsuk. Fed it on across. Lidstrom a shot. It's deflected to the glass by the defense.
That's where they need a right-hand shot back there for the one-timer. They don't have it.
Datsuk battling with Gotch. Prevailed to turn it back into Bertuzzi. That one is fought off by Nabokov. He holds the pads at the side of the post, and apparently the puck would not go by.
Ed, last year the Detroit Red Wings had Brendan Shanahan in that shooting position to tee up for the one-timer. But the battles by the Red Wings are starting to happen now, and getting people in front of the net, battling for loose pucks. That's much better by Detroit. That's what they want. Datsuk with the slick stick and the good body. Bertuzzi getting strong down low. Zetterberg whacking away. But Ed, you would agree if they had a right-hand shot there, that puck would get to the net a lot quicker.
Well, it would, and you have Michael Samuelson, who is playing a point on a power play, and you can't underestimate how important the loss of Thomas Holmstrom, especially on a power play. He pursues pucks, he tracks them, he stands in front. If that's going to end up being the case, then you have to work on the other side, Pierre, so that you have the one-timer on the other side.
Yeah, good point. Back in deep with that. Samuelson trickled one that came back to center. Samuelson, a one-time San Jose Shark himself. Nabokov stops it behind, drilled back along by Hannon. It went off Franzen, touched over by Samuelson, protected by Filppula, and down to the ice he goes, and Hannon as well. Samuelson holds it now. Flipped it behind, it careened through Franzen, brushed along by Lilia, chipped on back once more and played on to Filppula. Oh, down went Hannon on a Filppula shove. Lilia back on now for Filppula, left it behind. After him was Greer. Moves it back around, out in front. Oh, Samuelson couldn't get a good shot away to the back. Lilia holds now, shoots one, and that was blocked off by Hannon as players were sprawling trying to block. Sent back across. Samuelson to get it there. Penalty time is up, and it is lobbed back along by Vlasic and back down past Mahal.
Ed, you had three guys in white fighting for that shooting avenue. Hannon, you had Brown, and you had Greer. They're just like, get out of the way, I want to block it.
Hannon was the anchor. He was the last guy. He got by the first two, and Hannon was there. He's got 4 at least in the second period.
Midway. Sharks still lead by 1.
You had a great start. You feel it's starting to slip away a little?
Well, it slipped away. They got a little more energy when they scored the fluky goal towards the end of the first. Joe's line's dominating the game. We've got to get more from other guys, though.
Ron, your team is so big and they're doing such a good job blocking shots. Is that something that you constantly preach to them?
Well, we have this year. Last year we weren't a good shot blocking team. And like Mike Babcock says, we've copied what other teams did. 3 of the 4 finalists last year led the league in shot blocking. We've tried to really improve in that area.
Thank you, Ron.
Thanks.
Boy, have they ever. Joe Thornton spins it around in the defensive end of the ice for the Sharks. 6 3/4 minutes to go in the second, and the Sharks are still holding the 2-1 lead as Markov swings one in front that's kicked aside by the defenseman Ribe. Another shot that had to be blocked away by Nabokov.
Richmond shot that wide on purpose to try to create the deflection opportunity down low.
These boards are very lively. Go back to the first round series against Calgary. Chelio Schneider, especially a couple times trying to bank it off the boards.
Bell to Guerin, shooting. It went off of Hasek, and he was able to clear it away before it plopped over the line. And the net, I believe, is dislodged. Yeah, it's off one of the posts.
Yeah, Mark Bell knocked it off. He tried to stop, and Dominic Hasek finally gets tested here in the second period. The giveaway by Nick Litcham, a clear-cut 3-on-2. Bill Guerin walks in, Hasek able to see it, doesn't know where it is, gets it behind, and there Bell goes hard to the net and knocks the net off its moorings.
That's a pretty tough first save, Ed, when you're almost 14 minutes into a period.
And don't forget, game 1, Pierre and Doc, San Jose second period, only 3 shots in that second period.
Dominic does not lack for concentration, does he? Nor does Nabokov, because they both had long stretches, if not a lot of work. Sharks had the first 6 shots in the first period of this one. The Wings had the first 7 in the second. Pitched across now for the carry back in by Marleau, but a factor just yet. Marleau fed one, it went all the way to the point, settled down there by McLaren, and 360'd back around the boards for a play by Bell. Knifed away from Bill Guerin, pinching in was Ehrhoff to keep play going. It's sent for Guerin, and he tried to bank one in off Hasek, but Hasek holds on. 5:27 left in the second. Still Sharks by 1 here in Detroit. Today's Suzuki fan of the game is a guy known around Joe Louis Arena as Mo Cheese. Scott Stebbins is his name by day, 38 years of age, wearing the Wings jersey with the name Mo Cheese from a Three Stooges line on his back. He also, as you see today, at playoff time wears a Stanley Cup on top of his hat, and a wonderful stop by Hasek. Dealt on back now for a play to be made by Samuelson. Laid it on back for Chelios. Spiked right back in again by Franzen and covered by the netminder Nabokov.
Well, the San Jose Sharks taking a page out of the Detroit Red Wings. A face-off win back to the point. Scott Hannon gets it. There's no way to get the puck towards it. Look what he does. He shoots it off the boards. Look at it, perfect. Right to the front of the net, and an opportunity for Ryan Clough in front, and Dominic Hasek have to be aware. But a smart play there by Hannon. As I made mention, Calgary, in the Calgary series for Detroit, they tried that 3 or 4 times and created some opportunity as well. That was an outstanding save there by Hasek.
One back near Chelios. Nice punch ahead. Drive, and it ricocheted wide to be played back along near Chelios. Again at the half boards. Dug out there and worked along in some traffic by Hoodler. Steps to the front and shot one. It was up off the glass. A rising shot. He won at the top right. Hoodler fed one in front. Could not be reached by Lang. Could by Rissmiller. And he brings it ahead for the Sharks. Hoodler goes back. He and Greer tie up and cancel, and so it's brought along by Chelios. 45-year-old veteran defenseman, 22nd playoff campaign for him, an NHL record. Chelios watches as this is hacked back in by the fallen Greer, and once again it's Kyle Quincy to play. And then Chelios flies it back. Quincy to the bench. Chelios to the bench as well. Rebay drops it behind, and it's held by Matt Carl, sped on to Mahalik. That means it's Chichu and Thornton, and sure enough, they move in to play it. Chichu got there. A little bit of a shove on him on Lidstrom. Around it comes to Thornton. Defended off by Bertuzzi. Floated onto the back. McLaren hands it across once more for control back to McLaren. McLaren a shot. Blocked out by Hasek. Rebound battled for, and it came on to Bertuzzi. Todd Bertuzzi lofts it up the wing. Datsuk there. Bertuzzi came by, couldn't pick it free from Datsuk and Ehrhoff. And so it started back to Thornton and crisply to Mahalik and back in, and an obedient change in line for the San Jose Sharks.
The intensity level and the pace is picking up, Ed.
Yeah, Bertuzzi made that pass to Datsuk, and then Datsuk had pressure on him. Bertuzzi went for a skate, went right by him. There was no puck support. The puck lay there. All he has to do is stop, help out Datsuk. Maybe they continue with an offensive opportunity.
It is Cleary, able to turn away. Oh, nearly run to the ditch by towering 6'4" Mark Bell. On a cross now, Schneider. That canceled out. Time for another inside the glass downstairs to Pierre.
Well, a big part of this series has been dictated by the San Jose Sharks. We just talked to Ron Wilson about it, the ability of the Sharks to block shots, and they just sacrifice to get in the lane all the time, and they make it a real easy game for Evgeny Nabokov with all those players fighting to get in the lane all the time. Hey, Ed, it's tough to get pucks on goal when you got guys fighting to want to block them.
It is, and if San Jose is going to play that real low coverage, as we saw in a lot of those clips, meaning 5-on-5, and the puck is low down behind the goal line, all 5 players on the ice for San Jose will be below the top of the circle, so you got to move the puck. If you're Detroit, you got to go from low to high and continue. If they're going to give you that, you got to take it and get those pucks to the net.
It was last spring that Rob Blake was explaining how the role of the defenseman has become so much more important when it comes to shot blocking. And he said out of the lockout, the rules changed on what we can do. One of the things we still can do is get in the lanes, and we have to do that even more, and he did. And out in front, it's cleared right back for McLaren's shot that's kicked aside as it went off Maltby. It is Marlowe shoving one that went off Schneider. Lob back out for Maltby. It's squibbed loose from McLaren and is taken by Ehrhoff.
Mike Babcock's yelling at his team to have better sticks and be more responsible with the puck, especially deep in their own zone.
Clough played one along that is chased down by Cleary, nearly run off, but not until he'd gotten it to Lilia. Little help needed, and it came from Maltby, who flew it ahead. Nicely settled down for a play to the front that is covered by Nabokov, as coming right by was Draper. Next Saturday, the Run for the Roses. Eddie Olczyk's favorite non-hockey event. The 133rd running of the Kentucky Derby, the world's best thoroughbreds and the most famous race in the world. Presented by Yum Brand, Saturday, 4:30 Eastern, 1:30 Pacific on NBC. Go, man. One of the most heralded events, and it really doesn't take long. The build-up is fun to watch.
Oh, it's great. It is great.
Post-parade and all, but then it all happens, and if you miss it, you really feel left out. You just don't leave to make a sandwich. As Clough comes by. Clough fed, McLaren settled, and again wide.
Good job there by Samuelson to take away the shooting lane. We talk about San Jose. Detroit's done a real good job of that in the second period.
Blown back by Gotch for Rebay's bank shot off the boards that is picked up and started ahead by Lidstrom. Crisply on to Franzen, trickled it on through for the carry further, and the feed to Samuelson. Samuelson fed one in front and chased off at the last moment was Franzen. And back ahead now comes Klo, and the fans booing. They thought that Franzen had been restrained.
Yeah, that was Joe Thornton on the back check there. I'd have to agree. It looked like he was all over his back and didn't allow him to have a free look. At least get an opportunity to get that stick on the puck.
Chichu bounced off of Samuelson, who now goes to work on Thornton, and the pass is slowed down and started right back out again by Datsuk. Lays it in and goes to get it with Hannon. Scott Hannon goes down to the ice. Fed back onto Zetterberg, saved the puck off, rebound, and Bertuzzi sent a man flying, and we get a stoppage of play as the net is dislodged. And is he all right? It's Joe Thornton, who was really worked over by Bertuzzi.
And this is what Mike Babcock was talking about. Better sticks. Datsuk makes the interception. Then he gets the puck in deep, and he's strong on the puck with his stick, getting it to Zetterberg. One chance. Then you'll see Bertuzzi come in. Those are two big ships colliding in the middle of the night. Joe Thornton and Todd Bertuzzi. And Bertuzzi puts Thornton right into Evgeny Nabokov and the left goal post.
We had that clip earlier in the game about Billy Guerin talking about Joe Thornton doing a lot of little things, obviously creating offensively, leading the league in the last 2 years in assists, but the back checking, the defensive play, he also talked about that, and those two good plays there.
Sabres up 2-0 on the Rangers, and one of their stars, Daniel Briere, will be a part of our Heineken Premium Light Intermission Report with Bill, Brett, and Ray. Meanwhile, good protection by Rissmiller, and he's able to keep on feeding back to McLaren for a shot. Oh, and that tip just over the glove of Hasek, who seemed fooled by it.
He was.
Played back further for control by Rissmiller again. To the back, McLaren, a shot turned aside by Hasek. Rissmiller's pass off for McLaren. Crushed off the high glass. Greer banked it back. McLaren took over there. And Hasek decided to plane it back up the boards himself for Cleary. Cleary was run hard by Greer. Got it out, back in, delayed offside, and ahead comes Cleary. And we get a stoppage of play and a penalty coming out.
I think Draper's going to get it behind the play going after Curtis Brown. Draper was battling on the right by the San Jose bench with Curtis Brown, and he obstructed and interfered and held him.
Well, Daniel Cleary got absolutely hammered by Mike Greer. He knew he was going to get hit, but the key, he took a hit to make a play to get the puck out of the neutral zone.
There's Draper right against the boards. I was looking right at it, and he just kept staying with Curtis Brown. He wouldn't let him go, and Dave Jackson caught it and made the call.
As he sits, these are the United States Marine Corps team leaders thus far. Zetterberg with a goal and 3 shots. 17 shifts. Big Joe with a goal and an assist. Figuring on both of the goals here with 2 shots on goal in the game. Chris Draper, despite being in the penalty box, would be happy to limit him to that. Goal is another matter. As it is Datsuk clearing. It's held by Rive. Banked it along off Datsuk as the horn sounds to end the period. So it is a with 2:30 to go in the first. Nothing in the second. You saw the rather low total of shots, 13-12 San Jose. 4 for the Sharks in the second period, 9 for the Red Wings. The power play reconvenes with Chichu feeding Rive. Then on a cross for control by McLaren back to Rive, and then Thornton once more. Thornton fed it across, and it's held by Matt Carl. Cut by Zetterberg and bounced back out, and Rive has to react quickly to get away from Franzen. 1:10 to go on the man advantage. Undoubtedly, Mike Babcock said, first thing, kill it, then go right back to the work ethic that they established in the second, which was pretty strong. Played back along further, and it went through Carl, pumped on back, and it is Ehrhoff, I beg your pardon, who takes this, and then back around once again for control by the Sharks and nudged back out. Laid through by Bill Guerin. Filppula got in the way, and the puck winds up underneath him, and for that reason, there's a whistle.
Well, Joe Thornton of the San Jose Sharks, back-to-back 90-plus assist seasons, only 3 players in NHL history to be able to attain that. Mario Lemieux and Wayne Gretzky did it 12 times in a row. But I talked to Joe Thornton, who really likes to set up in behind the net, create some offense. It wasn't something he learned when he was a young player or moving in the NHL. He finally caught it when he was playing with Jason Allison, a teammate back in the late 90s in Boston, and kind of watched him how he used to be behind the net. Now it's almost a trademark.
Look at this, Cleary a drive, score!
Well, we saw Detroit turning the puck over a lot in the first period a bit. Here's San Jose trying to come out of their own zone. Turnover by Earhoff. And then you see off to the races they come, and then Cleary with the quick snapper high over the glove of Nabokov.
Yeah, the aggressiveness of the penalty killers for the Detroit Red Wings. Maltby not once but twice. And then Daniel Cleary comes in. Second shorthanded goal of the playoff. Perfectly placed shot. The aggressiveness, the turnover, the crowd's back into it at the Joe. Got some octopi on the ice.
And Ed, how about how Daniel Cleary has rehabilitated his career? It started with marriage. It started with his off-ice behavior being better. It started with him becoming more committed in the gym. And Mike Babcock, Kenny Hall, the whole management team in Detroit, smart enough to give Dan Cleary an opportunity to live up to the promise that he had when he was a great junior player in Canada with the Belleville Bulls.
Came to camp on a tryout 2 seasons ago, and there's that second play by Maltby, the puck bouncing around, and great support by Maltby. Here Cleary keeping up the speed, and his head is up and no hesitation at all. Skating left, shooting right. Big time play.
Ed, you see that tie on Mike Babcock? That's from his alma mater, McGill University in Montreal. It came in the mail yesterday. And he was saying, I'm going to wear it today. It might be one of those good luck ties. It wasn't looking so good early on. It's looking a lot better now.
Maybe it's one of those reversible ones. After 2 periods, he just kind of turned it inside out. And hey, coaches, players, whatever you got to do to change the momentum.
Hey, the Joe's alive. It's taken a while, but it's back alive.
Everyone issued a towel on the way in. They have kept them, they have waved them, and now they have a good reason to do so, rather than when they're encouraged to do that. It's spontaneous, they know the sport, and they're pretty happy now.
I made mention that Cleary's other goal was shorthanded. There also was a penalty shot. Shorthanded goal.
Yeah, against Calgary. That was a pretty special move.
It is Lidstrom clearing back with 20 left on the Detroit penalty kill. Cleary from Maltby, the shorthanded goal that has tied it. Drilled in by Earhoff, played by Thornton, flipped one around in front, and it hopped on back. To be handed once again to Thornton behind. Tried for Mahalik. Mahalik protected pretty well, but then lost. And it's cleared. Penalty time is up. Draper out of the box, and Nabokov settles it behind.
You can expect a push now from the red team.
It is Lilia back to get it. If you're San Jose, is there anything that you do to counteract the surge that the Red Wings have to be feeling right now?
I don't believe so. I think for San Jose, continue to be desperate down low in their own zone, and anytime they get an opportunity to pressure. Hey, San Jose, if they don't have any pressure, they'll have 4 and 5 guys back in the neutral zone.
Cleary fed, Maltby chopped along, Draper there, locked up by Hannon.
Let's remember they're playing with house money. They won game 1, so Detroit's far from being out of the woods. This game's tied.
It is Cleary turning. Cleary flipping along for Maltby. Curtis Brown right on him. Tremendous defensive centerman. And Brown is able to escape behind and give on to Hannon. Missed for Greer, bumped by Schneider, and back down is Lilia. Bang to the boards by Rissmiller, and so it's played back out. And in the meantime, the Sharks have made a player change. They get Gotch out there now. Played along to Greer, around for Gotch, who controlled in, but they said it was an offside play inside the glass. Bud Light, Pierre.
Well, both goaltenders have been pretty sharp in this game. Hatchick wasn't very good at the beginning, but he's gotten better as we've gone along. If getting Nabokov one of those guys that you need to step up, but you see Nabokov early on and Hasek both fighting the puck. But again, Ed, I really like the way Nabokov's played. Both goals by Detroit, pretty tough. For Hasek early on, struggling. For but we're getting lots of good athleticism and quality chances at both ends. Now, this game started to pick up the last 5 minutes of the second period. It's carried over here to start the third.
Well, you know what, Pierre? The first goal, he had no chance because it was a redirect on Chichu, and then the second one was completely his fault because he was trying to play defense.
Made a couple good saves there in the second period, though.
Kyle Calder churns back up the wing, denied by Clow, started on back. Played on by Gotch. Little pass in front, and the shot was stopped by Hasek. Good chance there for Steve Bernier. Moving up with it as Chelios flings it back in. And the Red Wings bring out the Robert Lang line. Calder bumped it onto Lang. Lang fed it to the back. Chelios, a drive, deflected wide, rebound paddled away by Nabokov as it came off the board.
That was shot wide on purpose, man. Chelios shot that wide on purpose. Ed's been talking about it all game long, the live boards.
Played right back ahead and dumped in by Christian Ehrhoff. And Markov got there for the icing touch-up. The face-off will come all the way back near Nabokov.
And Ed, you've played a lot of games in this building. You see Chelios, he looks up, and he said, look at his body. He's shooting that wide on purpose, looking for the carom for Hoodler out front. It's a smart play when San Jose does such a good job taking away the shooting avenues.
Resting is Markov. To take the draw is Draper. In there opposite Marlowe. Some encroachment by Cleary and Hannon. And Bill McCreary, the referee, warns them to get back to the restraining line. One by Draper to the back. Lilia, the save, Nabokov. Samuelson over cancels, and so it can be taken by Mark Bell.
Triple releases from Detroit, too, now trying to break down that shot blocking of San Jose.
A couple of Red Wings collide. The pass too far for Cleary.
Yeah, Lilia ran out of position, tried to hit Marlowe.
Here's Samuelson holding now. Put it on goal, and it had to be stoked away by Nabokov. Floated back on and out to center where it's tangled and coming by Samuelson again. Started in, and offside is called. Things seem to have calmed here, so we can listen to other sounds, the Verizon Wireless sounds of the game. Matt Schneider of Detroit, Bill Guerin of the Sharks.
Center's wide open when I come around behind the net. All he's got to do is stay up there and center swing. If I'm coming towards you like that? Huh? I don't know if it was a little harder.
Get more exclusive NHL action on VCast from Verizon Wireless.
So you hear what those players are talking about, certain situations. It's so important to communicate, not only on the ice, but in between shifts. Only can help you out the next time around because it's bound to happen. It's the little things, the communication that goes on. Coaches stress it, players need to do more of it, especially in games.
Lidstrom goes back to take the tap from Hasek. Taking the shortest route was Chichu, and it worked. Chichu now rocked a bit by Lidstrom as he played it behind. Thornton fed to the back. Rive with it there. Shovels one, and that's patted away by Hasek. Centering pass as Hasek was turning. McLaren a shot, protected by Mahalik. Backhander knocked down and nicely patrolled through traffic by Zetterberg. Pass careened back, though. Chichu starts it back in. Wanted to take his own pass, and Hasek came out to get it.
It's an adventure.
His stick was stolen, and he's arguing with the referee there should have been a penalty. He has regained his stick 180-some feet away.
You hear the crowd when he leaves his net?
You should hear the coaches when he leaves his net.
Yeah, that's probably more important.
A nice steal by Filppula. But good work by Vlasic to help it come back to his team, and it's dropped back in again for Schneider. Schneider rammed high and hard by Mike Greer. Those are football-like hits. And it is Samuelson laying it on back, and then he was mashed by Greer. Long toss ahead, hopped off the stick of Bronson, lifted along, and Filppula settled it. Filppula battling the half boards with a couple of Sharks. Neither of which are attorneys. Taken by Cleary, fed in front, and it's spiked on back to the point for Schneider. Tapped on a long for an attempt at the side of the net, and it's held by Nabokov as Cleary was right there looking for his second. 13:50 to go, third period, game tied at 2. Tons of great games. Ottawa, New Jersey tonight, 8 Eastern on Versus. Buffalo Rangers tomorrow on NBC, 2 at the Garden. Anaheim, Vancouver tomorrow at 8. Monday, these same two teams. The latter two that you saw on versus to the back. Right by Schneider, got the glass.
Last two offensive faceoffs for Detroit. They've one of them created opportunities.
Bill Guerin laid it on. Go ahead.
Quick releases and not holding the puck long.
Zetterberg laid it across, carried in by Bertuzzi, crosses, Bertuzzi canceled out by McLaren, and the two go bouncing off the board. McLaren, as Datsuk went down, played it back ahead. Bill Guerin has that one carried on and brought back in by Patrick Marleau. And Marleau bumped enough by Schneider that the puck was up for grabs, and Zetterberg said thanks, and away they go. Bertuzzi with a pass, controlled by Datsuk, laid on back, just reaching at Zetterberg. It's pumped onto the point, and Lilia did not keep it alive. A delayed offside is now whistled down, and the puck is frozen, and the offside will take precedence, so the faceoff will be back at center. Nothing much at stake at this point. Tie game, series not tied. They're going over to the enemy place, the Shark Tank, where it is loud and where it is tough to win. As the Red Wings found out, they were beaten badly twice. Sharks scored 9 goals in one of those games.
It will be electric at the Shark Tank for sure.
Clearing. Taken away and kicked behind by Ehrhoff. Taken by Maltby. Chipped away by Thornton. Right back they go again, and Maltby took a pretty good hit from McLaren. Battle still continues. Freed by Maltby, tapped by Mahalik, regathered by McLaren, and then along for a little lob back to Mahalik. Oh, and then Maltby ran a man to the ditch. Just getting off the ice is Ehrhoff. Seems to be okay, but a healthy collision. Now Mahalik nudged it on back for a play ahead to him. Run off by Markov. And it is Lidstrom sailing it back up the board. This is the kind of commitment the Red Wings know they will need to make to beat a strong, physical, towering team like San Jose. Markov skipped one. Samuelsson laid it in front, protected well by McLaren. Down to the ice. Well, we're going to get a penalty coming up, and at first, the fans thought it was going to be against the Sharks, but it's going to be on Detroit. Coming to the box will be Johan Franzen, as Chichu is just now getting up.
Yeah, I think Franzen was anticipating that Chichu was going to get the puck. He got on the railroad tracks and he couldn't get off. He thought Chichu was going to take that puck, and that's exactly what happened. Chichu just left that puck. Milan Mahalik has it, and it took Chichu a while to get up.
That's a big hit. I mean, that's
what's
one
his
of those
nickname
hits.
down there?
The
Pierre?
Mule.
The Mule.
Yeah, because he's big, strong, and can carry a lot on his back.
What he was carrying into the start of the season was the encouragement of the coaches. I guess encouragement in quotes. You've got to play more aggressive. You have to. Or I don't know. Or I guess Grand Rapids. But here's McLaren with a shot that skipped in front. Lilia flipped one, cut off by Marleau, defended off by Datsuk, didn't get much on it. But still, they're able to keep it alive and move it on in the person of Ehrhoff. Ehrhoff handed it across. Bill Guerin moves to the area in the four-man defensive box. Ehrhoff a shot and it ricocheted wide. Came back over to Marleau. Ryan Claude chased off, still able to keep it. Nudged it to the back where Ehrhoff got it, rifled one wide, rebound off the board, popped loose and a save made by Hodzik on Claude.
A lot more desperation, Ed and Mike from Detroit right now. You see how they're getting in the lane. You see how they're getting big down low. You see how they're trying to pressure at the point of attack. Here's Chelio stepping up, forcing a turnover. Much more aggression. There you go, Filppula.
Left behind by Draper, controlled and banked, but off of Matt Carl. Laid across, and here's Carl moving in, chased down by Chelios, stopped by Hasek. Sent further by Lidstrom and collared by Rive. Rive flipped it on, Mahalik with it. Nudged it onto the back once more. Play made across, Thornton sets it up, drive by Rive, knocked down in front, rebound picked up by Chelios, and cleared.
Detroit defensemen doing an outstanding job in front of not getting tied up, staying loose, looking to front people, able to clear pucks down like Chelios just did.
Lidstrom and Chelios both, absolutely.
Lidstrom lifted it, kept alive though, and moved back along by Carl and then sent behind further and into some trouble. That came off of Mike Greer. And it is Cleary outletting. 4 seconds left on the penalty kill, and moving in too early was Cleary. For that reason, they are offside, but the penalty is over. Penalty box is empty. It's not empty of snarl right now. A 2-2 tie with a tick below 10 to go in the third.
The artistic impression of this game won't rate very high, but the hits certainly will. Guys have been bringing it all afternoon. The Malati crunch on Craig Rivet, Ryan Clove from Andreas Vilja. Everybody getting physical. Equal opportunity for Mike Greer on Detroit. Everybody hit.
It is Scott Hannon lifting it back in wide. Hopped back out in front to be chipped further, but kept alive by Vlasic. That one bounced loose and a little trouble came for Quincy there. Meanwhile, it's Bell behind. Mark Bell on back now to Vlasic again. That one slowed by Lang. Nicely brushed away by Schneider. Lang battles the corner with Bell. Bell once more. Greer nearby. Pass came to him. Fed in front, but it came all the way back where Vlasic was watching again. It is Gotch behind. It is Calder turning. And Schneider for Detroit.
A little different line combination here for San Jose. Bernier, Gotch, and Bell. See if Ronnie Wilson decides to load up with his top 3 forwards. See if Marleau and Thornton get together on the next shift.
Offside is called. Monday on NBC, Heroes takes you 5 years into the future to a world they hope they'll never see. People will be talking about this one. That's Heroes Monday at 9, 8 Central on NBC. As consistently competitive as these two franchises have been recently, for Detroit, it's 15 straight playoff appearances. And for the Sharks, it's been strength over the last 4 years in particular. In 2004, they thought they might be able to get to the final against Tampa Bay, but it was Calgary instead. 5 years from now, Heroes will probably still be on, and these two teams will still be competitive. It is Datsuk digging it out, and then he's shouldered off by Risman. And back in. And we hope the two coaches who are coaching them now are still doing it then, because are they ever good in terms of letting you know what's on their mind? Pierre goes down and talks to them during the game. A difficult time for them, but they're both very good at letting us in on what's happening down there. I don't think we could have thought of two better guys to represent their teams and help share with us during the game. Traditionally, that's a very hard time for coaches to control their emotions and give us something of source, of substance, and they do.
And Ron Wilson, he's got his team under control. They're about where they want to be right now. They knew this would be a tight game, and they know that Detroit's playing for their respective playoff lives. And Mike Babcock, on the other hand, he has never been negative this whole game. He's always been telling his players, we have a lot of time left on the clock. Let's start doing things right, and let's start doing them our way.
Bill Guerin behind, sent one past Hasek into the half board. Matt Schneider gives it around. Carried back by Lilia, nudged ahead to Draper. Draper up the wing for Cleary. Played away from Maltby, brought ahead by Guerin. Handed away to Lilia, 7 3/4 to go.
Babcock's message right now, Ed, to his team, if we're going to shoot it in, we got to start getting people to the point of attack, getting to the shoot in. Right now, he thinks his players are a little bit slow getting to the puck.
Yeah, shoot it in with a purpose.
Carried in by Cleary, worked on by Clough. He took it right away. One Newfoundlander to the other, sped on goal for Nabokov. Some time and space for decisions, but that's not a good one as Lidstrom has it. Away from Zetterberg to Bertuzzi. Taken away by Scott Hannon. Hooked by Bertuzzi. It's going to cost the Red Wings a minor. Bill McCreary went over it with me before the game again today. Hooking is very popular in the playoffs. We can't let it happen, and when that stick blade actually restrains, you may be side by side with a guy or you may be reaching out. As soon as that blade turns or there's any restriction at all, we call it.
Bertuzzi knew as soon as Hannon got position on him, he got it in the midsection, it got parallel to the ice, and then once he realized that, he tried to drop it quickly, but the stick was still there, and the consistency. And that's what players and coaches want, and Regardless of the time, 2-2 game, game 2. Conference semifinals, third period, 7 minutes left. It's the right call.
Two-generation referee family. Bill, the primary generation, and Michael, a referee in the U.S. Hockey League.
He's a pretty good ref. I've seen him ref a few games.
It is chipped on by the shorthanded Red Wings, but held by Rive. Back through, away from the reach of Lidstrom, but not that of Chelios. Chelios battling again, and it's fed by Mahalik to the back. Carl hands it across, and a shot is held by Hasek.
Well, I think Chichu got a piece of that. Good puck movement there by the San Jose Sharks. No hesitation by Rive. Jonathan Chichu moving right in front of Dominic Hasek. He's over battling on the wall. It's the one-on-one battles. He gets to the front, good pass, and then a shot and a little redirect, I believe, Pierre, that Chichu got on Hasek.
Well, I believe that too, and you see Rive, the right-hand shot, he's opening up for the one-time, and I think Chichu does touch it just before Hasek smothers the puck.
That's a tough save. I mean, 2 feet out, and all of a sudden the puck changes direction. That puck could easily go up, upstairs, go down. But Hasek making himself look big down there, Pierre.
And he has to go with the puck, the movement of the puck from the top of the blue line down to the circle, and then stay with the shooter and the potential deflection. That has happened in a quick period of time, and you got to process that information very quickly.
Off this tie-up, it came to the back for Carl to hand it on across once more. Shuttled across for Thornton, shot and stopped by Hasek, and he's down, but he holds on.
This is a big-time save, too, because of how quickly Rive moves a puck through the box to Thornton for the one-time chance. Left-handed shooting Thornton on the right-hand side of the ice.
A face-off win.
Just quick distribution, and then the chance, boom. Just staying with that net. You know, you've been down there, how quick you have to move to stay with the flow of the puck. It's not always skating speed, it's puck movement speed. Hasek, watch, going from one side to the other quickly and taking away the lower part of the net.
Chelios talking to the referee and to the right of Dominic Hasek. He's been out here along with Nick Lidstrom. It's been a long 36 seconds while shorthanded, just trying to gain a little time, get a little breather.
Cleary in on the draw, won it, turned one, but Chichu got in the way, though it kicked back on for Lidstrom to clear. Boy, an important player playing an important role and becoming more important as a result is Dan Cleary. Draper was waved out of the face-off. He came in and won it. This time it's carried back in by Thornton, and Cleary right on him. Thornton swirls and hands it on back now to Rive. Right back across it comes for a shot by Carl, deflected wide. Rebound! They battled for it there, and it is a stoppage of play as Dominic Hasek is holding on.
Another bank shot, Pierre. Another bank shot by the defense. We've seen it from San Jose. We've seen it from Detroit.
And this is a second-year pro, Matt Carl, that does it. And I gotta believe Doug Wilson, who's the general manager of the San Jose Sharks, who played so many games here as a member of the Chicago Blackhawks, who is our highest-scoring defenseman in their history, probably told Ron Wilson, the rest of the team, these boards are alive. Don't be afraid to shoot the puck wide. You'll get a lot of carom chances, because it's just way too obvious, especially for a young player like Matt Carl, who hasn't played here.
I think they're pre-scouting as well. And you know, Pierre, you're playing in playoffs. You have scouts watching games. You have video.
Bill Guerin moved in with that one, twisted it behind. Lilia blasted it the other way, but Thornton stopped it. Thornton feeds to the back, held there by Rive. He's got Matt Carl to pass to, decides to twirl and work it on to Guerin. Dump behind, hoping for Marlowe. It's skidded over near Thornton. Played back off the referee's skates, and Dave Jackson trying to hop out of the way, could not that time. Bank back up the boards. Carl sped it across. It's Rive connecting back onto Thornton again. 15 to go, power play. Thornton very slowly giving it on back again to Carl. Then back to Thornton. Thornton dealt it back in. Controlled to the outside by Marlowe. Fed by Guerin to Thornton. 1 second to go. Bertuzzi is out of the box. This one is hoisted on back. And Carl is able to jam it away. Penalty box empty. Red Wings caught in the change. Thornton a shot. Deflected up into the mesh by Schneider. It stays 2-2 with 5 minutes to go in regulation time.
Well, after good hard work on a power play, Joel Thornton thinks that he's going to get off the ice. He's tired. He's going to get a chance to get a break. And oh no, I got a chance at a breakaway. Here it comes the other way. Somehow he finds that little extra press in the bod and gets an opportunity, but a good poke check there by Matthew Schneider.
Face-off win by Zetterberg. And the Red Wings start to slowly move it out. Koch is out there, along with Bernier and Clough. And the defense is Vlasic as well as Hannon. Banked around, but it went off Clough. He's able to recover. Denied by Schneider, but he pulls his way ahead and then loses it to the back. Checking job done by Draper. Played back along now for a toss by Zetterberg. Hit back across and is turned right back along, but then knifed away from the reach of Bernier.
A nice pat in the back for Kyle Quincy playing at this late jump for the 2-2 tie.
It is. Having been called up recently from the Grand Rapids Griffins, he comes to the bench. So does Schneider right now as this is dealt back in. Lilia and Chelios come out for the defense as Zetterberg saw that kick back to Lilia. Chelios had trouble settling it down and has to regroup at center. Dumps it back in, and his team was going to come for a line change anyway. At least the forwards were. Meanwhile, it's brought ahead and dealt on by Greer. Chased down by Curtis Brown. Hacked off Chelios. Chelios in some traffic had it knifed away and played behind for Curtis Brown again. Fed one in front and it went off of Greer and came back across for Samuelsson. Samuelsson squiffed one back in that is settled down now by Ribe as we hit the last 3:40 of the third period. Ribe's pass is on the money. Carried right back in again and fed on back for Greer. Save made by Hasek as he shrugged it away. Ribe plays it back on further for Brown. He turns it along, worked on his wrist miller by Lilia. Red Wings get some control. It's turned on to Samuelsson. One-time Shark leads it ahead now for Franzen. Phil Phillip breaking. Shot. Stopped by Nabokov and sent back down the ice by Greer. No icing. Lidstrom retrieved. Little over 3 minutes to go. Pass was away from Markov. He has a duel there. Poked it away from Big Joe Thornton. Follow up Markov. Brings it on ahead. Markov pivoting. Throws one that is casually blocked away by Nabokov. Reaching in is Cleary as well as Draper. And emerging Mahalik to play it up to Chichu, who's able to bank it back to center. Markov retreats to play. Shots are 19-18 Sharks. Pass hit loose and battled for by Lidstrom. Follow up and it's sent on to Chichu. Crosses all but a denial by Markov. Now Chichu tries a wraparound and that's whipped in front, played away by Draper. It is Cleary ahead. 2.5 to go regulation time. Milan Mahalik able to bring it on back.
How about the hard work by Markov?
A strong play that saved his team. Off the back of the cage, punched along by Schneider. They have Mark Bell slotted, can't get it to him. Lifted along to Bertuzzi, bounced off the attempt of Marlowe, but he got the puck away from him, and then he's punished to the board.
Too long a shift for Nick Lidstrom. He can't get off the ice, Ed.
Worked along now to Zetterberg. Looks like he'll get off this time. Zetterberg's pass was off Datsuk, and Zetterberg has to turn back. Schneider ripped it ahead. Carried on by Bertuzzi. McLaren on him. Bertuzzi tried to get by, and it's Nabokov giving it up. Drive! Save Nabokov on Zetterberg! Laid along by Datsuk, taken by Bertuzzi. Bertuzzi shoved to the boards by Marlowe. Chelios there, hacked it on for Datsuk to play. Leads it back ahead for Zetterberg again. Henrik Zetterberg had it knifed off his stick by McLaren. Played further. Samuelsson, a shot save. Rebound! Score! Datsuk!
Everybody's looking for a hero. Zetterberg, Datsuk, Michael Samuelsson's on the ice because Bertuzzi changed. He puts it on goal, and Pavel Datsuk's there for the rebound, Ed.
The one thing Detroit wanted to correct was second chance opportunities, which they did not have enough of in game one. Get the puck to the net. A big rebound by Evgeny Nabokov, but look at Datsuk. Quick hands, move away from the goaltender, put it in the back of the net.
And a smart move by Bertuzzi. He was completely gassed at the end of that shift. He came off. The live legs of Samuelsson could come on. And that created the shot on goal, which eventually led to the rebound from Datsuk.
They are still standing here at Joe Louis Arena. Lidstrom filtered it through. Draper twisted it across. Cleary moving ahead. Nabokov cannot come off yet. 1.25 minutes to go. Now Thornton with it, lays it along. Hacked back along by Draper. Second effort follow-up from Thornton. This one cut off and played along by Bronson. Cleary moves back in. Ehrhoff on him. Franzen backhander Cleary skipped off of Ehrhoff. Too many Red Wings on him. He recovered and got it on to Matt Carl. Now Thornton pass too far for Chichu. Lidstrom is out there to play it on back into the Sharks' end, and still in the goal is Nabokov. Lidstrom clipped one, taken along by Zetterberg, given across to Filppula, and again back in. They are standing and waving. A half minute to go. Datsuk holds. Filppula shot. Nabokov the stop. Hoisted on back, and Lilia settles it at center. Playing it back in again with 20 to go. Nabokov comes right by as it is played along for Datsuk, but chipped onto center. Follow up Snyder. Drives.